This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Mins.
They gave me a car, a baseball bat, and a photo. The person in the frame was of the good-looking type. Young, maybe 20s. He had a crew cut, like he had just come out of the army or something. I parked the Buick out by the edge of the football fields. It was summer, so all of the practice for the football season had ended. The baseball fields were where most of the local sporting action took place. People were exercising out here for some sport called soccer. I'd heard about it, seen some spots on the TV, big in Europe. I never really paid attention to it. My old man raised me on burgers, football, and baseball. Those three things were his religion. He was gone now. I felt like I could really use his guidance most days. I sat there and watched as the team set up their boundaries for the match. Then they rolled out a round ball and began kicking it up and down, back and front. Sometimes they would use their heads. Sometimes they would throw it in from the sidelines. By and large, they didn't use their hands at all and just chased this ball around to kick it with their feet. What's the point of this goddamn thing? I tried not to think too much on the sport and concentrated on my breathing. You see, since my old man split from this world, I'd been the sole breadwinner for me and my grandma. Things were tough. I was working a few jobs to get by. I quit school and was driving a truck for the fish markets during the day and was bouncing out the door of a nightclub out by Long Island at night. I was getting no sleep, and it still wasn't enough to cover our gas bill. So one day, this guy at the markets, he says to me, "You're Joey Sassione's kid?" I say, "Yeah, I am." He says to me, "How'd you like to make a bit of extra money, kid?" I never wanted to let the family down after that. They were having me drive all over town, shaking down debts that hadn't been paid. People would borrow from the family at the fish markets. They were involved in all sorts of risky business. There would be little packages in the flatheads. Next thing I know, they'd return a week later with a special bag or, if they hadn't done a job right, a small envelope. They liked the way I worked. I got told what to do, and I did it. Simple. For example, they say to me, "Joey Jr., take the Buick and drive out to Pascoville and shake down Mr. Dimitri for $1,100. Not a penny less." So what do? I take the Buick. I drive on out to Pascoville and I knock on every door in the neighborhood asking for Mr. Dimitri. By the third door, not only is Mr. Dimitri waiting for me out at the Buick, he has the money in his hand and is on his knees begging me for mercy. You gotta teach these guys a lesson, Joey. You need to make them bleed. When I say go out to Pascoville or Long Beach or Long Island or Manhattan and collect such and such amount from so-and-so, I'm not saying be nice, treat them with respect, ask for the money politely. No. I want you to kick their fucking head in and let them know that when you borrow from the Protrudo family, you best better pay us back, otherwise we kick your fucking head in. That was Jimmy. He was the made man of the outfit. He liked me. I always made sure I took my instructions properly from Jimmy, because to go against him was to summon death. That's what all the boys down at the fish markets would say. So that brings me to today's little outing. I get given a job, take the Buick, go down to the sports fields on La Brea and Ventura. In the back seat is a photo of a guy called John Davis. There is also a baseball bat in the back seat, a steel one. I am not going to spell it out for you, Joey. Introduce Mr. Davis to the bat and make sure it's the last kiss he ever gets. You get me? I get you, Jimmy. I says, I never took a life before. I mean, sure, I killed many cockroaches. I killed flies with a can of bug spray. Earlier this morning, I drove my thumb over an ant's nest near the wheels of the truck while I took a lunch break. Never a real human before. I was a devout Catholic. 16 months ago, I prayed the rosary with my grandma and my old man, God rest his soul. Now here I was sitting in a car alone, waiting for a hit. I spotted this John Davis as the sun set and the teams were packing down their nets. He was laughing with the others. I don't know what he had done to piss off Jimmy and the family. I looked at him with squinted eyes and I looked back at the Polaroid they had given me. It was him, all right. I wondered how hard I would have to hit him in order for the job to be done quickly. I really didn't want to inflict pain on this poor fellow. I just wanted it to be done with. I wanted him gone so I could go back to Jimmy and get the smile and the squeeze of the cheek and the thanks for a job well done. The ground was starting to get quiet as all those involved had taken off. This Davis fellow obviously ran the whole game, as he was the last one there, still pulling the nets off the goalposts. He stood alone as he ran his hands along the joints, extracting the loops one by one. I grabbed the bat and exited the car and headed over. I looked at him, and only him, as I made the walk over. I thought about the ants. I thought about the cockroaches. I looked him up and down, and images of his life that I didn't know were true or not showed up in my mind. I pictured him giving off the same smile he had given to his teammates, this time to his bride on their wedding day. I pictured him holding a baby in his arms on its christening day. I pictured him walking another bride down the aisle on her wedding day. Maybe it was his daughter, I don't know. What do I know? Why am I thinking of this stuff? That image stayed with me, though. He was much older, but still had that same smile. All of these pictures forced their way into my brain, one after another, a man's entire made-up life. Then I shook my head, rough to get rid of them. I looked up at him as he spotted me. I tried to imagine him a rat, or a snake, or some kind of rodent. Maybe an ant, that might be easier to see. A giant squabbling ant that all I had to do was push my thumb down on and squash. Splat. No more Mr. Davis. Easy, quick, simple. I shook my head again and again to get rid of the nice images, and must have made it obvious what I was doing, because he started running. This meant I had to chase him. I had the bat in my hand, ready to swing. On the run, I wondered which images would be in my mind at the time I reached him. Which would I see just as the fatal blow was struck? Then I thought about Jimmy and the wrath that would land on my front door if I didn't complete his demand. Not just on me, but also Grandma. Thank God Dad wasn't here to see this. I continued to run, and then I ran faster and I gained on him. I could see the fear in his eyes even though his back was turned to me. I heard it in his wheezy breathing. Poor bastard.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.